Hi everyone. In today's class we're going to focus on some back bending movements. So back bending is a nice way to gently begin to open up the front of the body. We might find that over time in our life we tend to look at computers, the head comes forward, the shoulders roll forward, the chest gets tight, the abdomen gets tight. Some of this we were looking at in the last class where we looked at the thoracic spine. So really now it's continuing on from that. So when we can find nice movement, nice extension through the thoracic spine, we're now looking at being able to go into whole body back bending postures that are really counteracting the forward bending, the forward folding that we might do in everyday life. So often we're folding forward, we might sit at the computer desk, head comes forward, shoulder comes forward, and back bends can help us to counter that. So they help us to stay upright, to stay nice and tall, but also when we, if we decide we want to look up or we want to reach up, we're doing that in a safe manner that we are used to because we've started to do that in our yoga class. So let's start lying down. We're going to lie on the floor and we're going to just take a moment to have a little scan through the body. And so we'll be looking at back bends, but at the end also looking at relaxation, so how to relax the body. And this, of course, is part of the series on the musculoskeletal system. So as well as being able to move all the joints to maintain complete range of movement, full range of movement, stability in the joints, and also to be able to maintain bone density, which we've looked at over the last few classes. Also the ability to relax the whole body is an essential part of maintaining health of the musculoskeletal system. So let's start with relaxing. So if you can either bend the knees or if it feels okay to straighten the legs, you can do that. And we're just going to let the body begin to settle onto the floor. So begin to sense where you feel the contact with the back of the body and the floor. It's quite important that we take that time to notice these places where the body meets the floor, because it helps us to feel grounded. It helps us to bring the attention here. There are obvious points where the body is meeting the floor, such as the back of the head, the back of the shoulders and arms, some parts of the spine, back of the pelvis, and some parts of the back of the legs and the feet. So as you begin to explore those various places where your body meets the floor, try and notice any differences between left and right side of the body. But also you can notice the spaces between your body and the floor. For example, behind the neck, behind the lower back, behind the knees, over the ankles. Once you've sensed the back of the body, now let's sense the front of the body. You can scan down through the front, across the forehead, the eyes, the jaw and mouth. Just noticing if we're holding on to any unnecessary tension. The jaw, throat, chest, abdomen, hips, knees, ankles, toes. So we want to start from a place where we feel, or we start to sense the body and we can feel that we're reasonably relaxed as much as we can be. Tuning into the breath. Just feeling the natural flow of the breath. Noticing if we feel any movement around the abdomen as we breathe. Or maybe all the movement is just in the chest. So we're going to start by bringing both feet to the floor. So you can just slide up one foot at a time. And both feet are now on the floor with the knees bent. And we're going to just begin by gently tipping the pelvis forward and backwards. So it's the arch and flatten. So when you're ready, just start to sense your breath. And you might even bring the hands to the belly. Because this area, when we hold a lot of tension here, we might find that there's actually no movement there. And this can be part of that whole posture where everything draws forward, shoulders, head, tummy tightens. So we're going to work with releasing that a little bit by just slowly pressing your lower back into the floor. As you do that, can you feel your abdominal muscles contract a little bit? You just feel around with your fingers. And then let that release. Link it with the breath. Take a breath in. As you exhale, feel the navel sinking down. Feel the lower breastbone and the pubic bone moving towards each other. You might even find the head tip back. Feel that contraction in the abdomen. And now allow it to slowly release. Try that one more time. Breath in. As you exhale, let the lower back flatten out to the floor by tipping the pelvis backwards. Lower ribs draw down, pubic bone comes up, head will tip back slightly, and allow that to release. And then again, go back to sensing any movement around the belly as you breathe. And this time, as we arch the back, we're going to tip the pelvis forward and feel as though we're breathing into the belly, as though your breath is expanding all the way down into the belly. Belly swells up on the inhale, and on the exhale you release, just back to neutral position. So as you breathe in, feel the belly expand, lower back arches. As you breathe out, come back to the neutral position. Let's try that one more time. You can inhale, arch the back, exhale, release it. So if we hold a lot of tension around the abdomen, it might even prevent us from breathing properly. So we have short, shallow breaths all into the upper chest. So sometimes the abdomen gets held tight for various reasons. We might be told, keep your tummy pulled in. We might be self-conscious about having a belly, so we keep the tummy pulled in. Or it could be due to stressful situations. So our diaphragm, the main breathing muscle, attaches from the lower breastbone around the lower ribs all the way around the back to the front anterior part of your spine, and it has a part that kind of runs down the front of the spine known as the crura. So when you inhale, it naturally gently arches the back. So also that crura blends within with the fascia or the connective tissue of the hip flexors, the muscles that draw the knee in toward the chest. They go from your inner thigh right up into your lumbar spine. So let's do a little bit more of that arch and flatten, and then we'll be working with the psoas muscles and the abdominal muscles. So when you're ready, let's breathe in through the nose and gently tip the pelvis forward, arching the back, so let the belly really swell up there. And as you breathe out, let the back muscles release, and now press the lower back into the floor. Feel how the abdominal muscles contract, and then they release, and as you inhale, you arch again. And then releasing, exhaling, flattening the lower back. Pubic bone, lower ribs draw towards each other. Try that one more time. Okay, now just relax the arms for a moment. Good, so we're going to work a little bit with psoas muscle in a minute and also the abdominals, but before that, just a little bit of a release for the chest muscles. So let's focus on the right arm. And I just want you to lift the right shoulder away from the floor and then let it slowly release back down. So at the moment the arm just stays on the floor, the shoulder lifts. It's the pectoral muscles doing that. You can feel that. And now let that slowly release. Try it one more time. So you lift the shoulder, feel that contraction. You can even use your left fingers to feel around the right pectoral muscles. And then allow that to softly release. Now let's add in an arm roll with that. So can you let your arm internally rotate? Keep rolling till your elbow will lift like it's trying to point up toward the ceiling. The shoulder lifts. Feel that contraction at the front of the chest. And then allow that to slowly release. So roll the arm in. And then let it release. Try that again. Roll the arm in. The shoulder lifts. There's a contraction around the front of the shoulder there. In the chest. And you nice and slowly allow it to release. Let's try that one more time. And slowly release. Okay, so now from there, take your right hand behind the head. So hopefully that's made it a little bit easier to do this, than what we just did. Pandiculating around the chest. When you're ready, we're going to start an arching curl just on one side. So we're going to start by just arching the back as you inhale. And as you begin to flatten the back, let the head lift, but also at the same time, can you let your right foot lift? So it's right elbow towards right knee. And you feel that contraction and then slowly release it and bring the foot down, head down. Okay, so try that again. You're going to arch, gently arch the back. As you exhale, flatten the back, lift the head, lift the foot, bring the elbow and knee towards each other. Really feeling that contraction through the front of the hip and side of the abdomen. Slowly release it. Bring the foot down, arch the back. On the exhale, lift the head, lower back flattens, lift the right foot. Feel that nice contraction. And now as you bring the foot and the head down, can you slide out, lengthen through the leg, but also slide the arm out behind you, out to the side. So you get this nice length through what we were just contracting. Okay, and then from there, do a little arch and flatten. Bring the foot back up, hand behind the head. Okay, so we take our time with this. When you're ready, gently arch again. Now the right foot is on the floor, and then you're going to lift the head, lift the right foot as you flatten the back. Feel that contracting through that whole front on the right side. And now as we slowly release it, we're going to lengthen out. Release the hand, slide the foot out. Arm can just reach back, maybe a bit out to the side if the arm's a bit uncomfortable there. And then a little arch and a little flatten. Then we bring the foot back up. Let's try that one more time. Hand behind the head, arching. Exhale, lifting the head, flattening the back, lifting the right foot. Really feel that squeeze through the front of the body on the right side. And then let the head release, let the foot release. Slide the leg out, release the arm. Slide the arm out. Little arch and flatten. And bring the arm down, slide the left leg out. See how that feels in the two sides of your body. two legs might feel different, the arms. So you want to just really pay attention to that. This is a very gentle way to begin to release out through the front, and then that will help nicely as we go into some back bending postures. Okay, so let's bring the feet to the floor. We're going to work on the left side. So let's just start with the shoulder. We're going to let the left shoulder lift away from the floor, so just up toward the ceiling, and then let it slowly release. Lift the shoulder, feel those muscles contracting, slowly release it. Lift it, and slowly release it. Good. Adding the arm, internal rotation of the arm. So roll the arm inwards until your shoulder lifts, and again you feel that contraction. And then release the shoulder, release the arm. And try that just a couple more, 2 or 3 more times. Roll the arm in, lift the shoulder, feel that contraction around the front. Let it slowly release. Roll the arm in, shoulder lifts. Slow release. Try that one more time. Roll the arm in, allow the shoulder to lift. And then release. Great. Then we're going to bring the left hand behind the head. So same thing like we did on the other side. So we'll start about 3 times without straightening the leg. So just bringing the leg to the floor. So we're going to arch the back first. Inhaling, exhale, flatten the back, lift the head, lift the left foot. So it's left elbow and left knee moving towards each other. Feel that nice contracting through the front. Bring the foot down. Bring the head down. Arch. Release, and then flatten the back, lift the head, lift the foot. Elbow and knee towards each other. Feel that nice contraction. Slow release. Head down. Let's try that one more time. Arch. Flatten the back, lift the head, lift the foot. Feel the front of the hip contracting. Now as you release it, take the hand out of the way, lengthen the arm out behind you, lengthen out through the leg. Find that nice opening through the front. And then you could do a little arch, flatten, bring the foot back, bring the hand back. We'll do that a couple more times. So you arch the back, inhaling, exhale, lift the head, flatten the back, lift the left foot, elbow, knee move towards each other, and then slow release, you lengthening out through that front line of the body, reaching the arm out, lengthening out the leg, finding that nice space, little arch, a little flatten, and we'll try that one more time. So you arch, so foot comes back up to the floor, arching the back. Exhale, lift the head, lift the left foot, knee and elbow towards each other, maybe pass each other. And then release it, slide out the arm, slide out the leg. Little arch and flatten. Bring the legs, both legs out, both arms down by the side. Now see how that feels. And you're just comparing the two sides here. You're noticing, is there a difference between left and right side? And what you might find when you do that, you kind of closing the eyes can really help you to sort of focus the attention inwards. So hopefully we're feeling nice and open through the front of the body. So we're going to turn over onto the front and then work with Shalabhasana, which is the locust pose. So just with a few variations of this. So now we've opened the front, then we're going to be more able to go into gentle back bends. So we're going to start with the hands just kind of out in front of us somewhere. Elbows can be slightly bent, either the forehead to the floor or the head turned to the side. And when we looked at this previously, we were It's the same thing really, but before we were really trying to focus on getting that thoracic spine extending. So same thing here. So we're going to start with that, lifting the head, lifting the chest. Feel that thoracic spine extending. It will go a little bit into the lower back as well, that's okay. As long as our thoracic spine is getting involved. And then bring the head down. So now we're going to add right arm, left leg with this if you can. And just to say, if you find that when you lift your lower back gets very uncomfortable, you could take a folded blanket under your hips or one of these yoga blocks under the hips. So again, you might pause for a moment, think, hold on, I need that folded blanket. So you can pause me and then come back to it. Okay, so take the arms up. So this time we're going to raise the head, right arm, left leg. So when you're ready, exhale, and as you inhale, lift the head, take the gaze slightly forward, lift the right arm, lift the left leg. Try and really feel that opening through the front of the body as you contract through the back, and then release back down. Now left arm, right leg and head, and you release back down. Try it again. Right arm, left leg and head. So as we contract through the back from shoulder to opposite buttock, we're opening through the front from armpit to hip, opposite hip. Releasing left arm, right leg. And using our back muscles to get us into that back bend. Try it one more time, each side. Right arm, left leg, head. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Left arm, right leg, head. And then lower. Okay, so we could try, if it feels okay for you, lifting both legs and both arms and the head. So you could start by just sliding the hands down a little bit so the elbows are kind of more in toward the side of the body. If possible, then you bring the forehead to the floor. And if you find that this is not comfortable for you, just go back to the one we did previously. So we're going to exhale, and then as you inhale, you're going to slide the hands forward, lift the hands off the floor, lift the head, lift the legs, feel that contraction, slowly release it, bring the hands back, everything comes back down. Try it again. You lift the head, lift the legs, slide the hands forward, find that nice comfortable lift, and then slow release and fully let go. Try it again if you like, so see how that goes. This is our back bend, but we're using all the back muscles to take us into that back bend here, and we work against gravity. You might like that one more time if you're able to. Good, and then just rest down for a moment. You can let the pelvis just gently rock from side to side. Okay, great. So we can just, we'll push ourselves up. And you might like to just take a little moment in child's pose. So sitting back towards the heels. The head can either come to the floor or on the hands, under the forehead. Taking a few breaths, and that lower back lengthen out. Okay, so from there, let's come up to all fours. Let's get a little bit of shoulder movement here while we're on all fours. So can you let your arms be straight and let your chest sink down towards the floor, and then push your chest away from the floor. So your chest sinks down, the arms stay straight, the shoulder blades retract or draw in towards each other, and you push your chest away and shoulder blades broaden or protract. Let's feel what's going on there. You might even find you can circle the shoulders around a little bit. And then the elbows might bend. You might find the spine starting to get involved in that a little bit. And then roll the other way. So you do the shoulder rolling movement in slightly different positions. It really kind of feels different. It makes the muscles work differently. Okay, find the neutral position. Then let's take a breath in. As you exhale, we're going to flex the spine, navel drawing in. And then as you inhale, we're going to lift the tailbone, lift the chest, extending the spine. So remember to find that nice even curve through the spine, like we were looking at last week when we focused on the thoracic area. So the part of the spine behind your rib cage wants to get involved in that bend, that back bend. Now if you like, you can add in a leg lift. So as you extend the spine, you can try reaching out the right leg and lifting. And then as you exhale, bringing the knee in toward the chest, head in towards knee. So we've already been working with this extension when we're lying prone on the front of the body, and then flexion when we're lying supine on the back of the body. So now we're just doing this together, going from one to the other. Try one more time on that side. And swap over. If wrists give you problems, try making fists. See if that works for you. Inhale, lift, exhale, bring the knee in, flexing, extending the hip, extending at the knee, extending in the spine, and then flexing at the hip, knee, and spine. Keep the movement comfortable, keep the breath flowing through the nose. Great. Come back to the neutral. Take a little pause. Take the weight off the wrist. Try knees a bit wider this time. You might even reach the hands forward. Taking a few breaths. Okay, and then we're going to come up to standing. One way you might like to do this is to go into downward dog. If you can't manage downward dog or you don't feel like doing it, then it's okay. You just bring yourself up to standing. But otherwise, from all fours, knees below hips, hands below shoulders. Tuck the toes. We're going to sit towards the heels. Let the knees lift. Take the head down between the arms. Let the head hang. Spread the fingers. Spread the weight through the palms of the hands. You could try pressing one heel at a time toward the floor here. Feel that bit of that rotation in the pelvis and the spine. And then you can walk the feet forward and then the hands back and gently uncurl up. Roll, unrolling the spine. Find a mild back bend. And then the hands come down the center. Great. So here we are at standing. So let's try a few shoulder movements here now. So we're going to do the big arm circles. And when you do this, reaching, crossing the forearms, reaching the arms up, this is an extension, isn't it? This is the spine extending. And mostly we don't need a much deeper back bend than that. So it's like, imagine you're trying to, reach up toward the ceiling or look up at the stars, And we want to feel that it's not just coming from the neck. So hopefully as we open through the front, and as we've done all that opening through the front, the hips will extend a little bit, the hips come forward, the belly will release, the chest will lift, the gaze will look up. So there's this nice lovely opening. We've spent time releasing the front, so hopefully that allows us to find that lovely extension through the spine. Try that again. Okay, great. Good, so let's work a little bit on hips and then wrists and ankles. So if you shift your weight into your right foot, and I can mirror you here, you're going to just let your left heel lift, and if you just turn the knee out, that's external rotation, and in, internal rotation. So this is a nice way just to sense how much rotation you have at the hip. Externally rotate, internally rotate. Okay, now if you can, shift the weight into that right foot, and you're going to lift the knee, so you might bring hands to the waist, and we're going to see if we can circle round. So we have to find something to stare at, usually helps. Not as big a circle as you can make, and then go the other way. Of course, if you need something for balance, you might come near a wall or use a chair, the back of a chair seat. Great, shift the weight back into the 2 feet, and then let's try that on the other side. So first of all, just weight coming into your left foot, right heel lifts, knee turns out and in, and mirroring you here. Knee turns out and in. So that's your hip external rotation and internal rotation. Okay, so then we could try circumduction. Circling. Focus on finding nice steadiness through the ankles, and we were looking at that a couple of weeks ago. Now go the other way. Here, of course, we get hip mobility, hip stability on the standing leg, mobilizing the other hip. And also taking the different forces through the hip. So weight, when we balance, we take more weight through that hip. And all of that is helping to maintain bone density. Great, and then you might like to just circle both hips around. So of course we can circle the hips in lots of different ways, and this is perhaps a bit easier this way. The other way helps us to also get a little bit of balance in there. Okay, let's take the hands out, spread the fingers, make fists, so let's not forget our fingers. And then wrists up and down. You could try circling. You might even at the same time lift one foot and try circling the foot. Maybe they're all going in the same direction, and the other way. Maybe you can go in opposite directions. Opposite directions. That's tricky. Reverse it. Not sure I'm going to get this, but let's see. It's tricky that. So you can try and find different combinations here to work with, to really kind of working at the level of the brain to stimulate new neural pathways from the brain to the muscle. So let's try that on the other side. Fists, foot, you can all, maybe they all go in the same direction, that's okay. So hand, or you can make fists actually if you want this time. Feel a bit different. And then try fists one way, foot the other way. So working at the level of your nervous system and brain for coordination, and then reverse it. I think I've got it, I'm not quite sure, I think so. Alright, shake it up, shake out the arms, shake out the legs a little bit. Good. Great, and then let's try some more movements. So we're going to have the Feet about hip width, so just getting the legs working a little bit more movement into the knees. We'll take the arms out in front, this time inhale. As you exhale, we're just going to go into a kind of mini squat, and then bring the arms down, and then sweep the arms out and back. And each time you go into the squat, you might find you can go a little bit deeper. Remember here, we're trying to keep the knees in line with the hips. So a lot of this today is kind of a bit of a recap as well over what we've done. So we were looking at ankle and knee stability a couple of weeks ago. So when you go into squats, you check, do the knees drop in or out? Can you keep the balance between the inner and outer edges of the feet? You might go a bit lower. See how that feels. Connect it with the breath. Inhale to lift, to rise up. Exhale to sink. Let's try that one more time. And all this movement helps to develop our proprioception, awareness of the body in space. Then you can just let the hands come down. Okay, great. So let's try a rotation. Again, feet about hip width, slight bend at the knees. It's like you're holding a big beach ball now. Spaces between the fingers, and crown of the head gently lifted. This is a qigong exercise, so it's a twisting movement. So you're going to really focus on the navel here, and it's like you're breathing into the navel. Inhale. As you exhale, turn your hands out and turn everything to your right. So you're looking round to the right, chest turns, the hands move with that. You look all the way around, and when it's time to inhale, you come back, palms turn in. Exhale, palms out, turning round to the left. Let everything turn, so your neck, your chest, your pelvis, you'll feel that movement in the knees, in the ankles. But everything's moving together, finding that nice turning. And if you remember last week, we're looking at that thoracic spine rotation as well. So when you turn, you're trying to get that part of the spine involved in that turn, not just the neck. A little recap there from last week. Okay, and then we'll come back to center and release the arms. You might just shake the arms. Slight bend at the knees, so it's like inhale, exhale. Okay, so let's have a look at mountain pose. We're just standing. We're standing tall, we're in mountain pose. And all that pandiculating through the hips, through the belly, chest. Hopefully that's starting to prevent that, declining into that forward hunched over position. So helping us to stay nice and upright, nice and tall, really, but without tension. So this is what we want. Now, if you can take your hands into the back of the pelvis, fingers pointing down. So here we can go into our first standing back bend. Although already when we were raising the arms, we were extending the spine. Feet about hip width apart. So we're going to just let the hips draw forward slightly. When we go into back bends, we always really want to feel that we've got a nice open space at the front of the hips. Hips will come forward, the shoulders roll back, and the chest lifts. We lift up through that thoracic spine, and we can take the gaze up to wherever we can get to. We're not trying to go into anything too excessive. Breath, and then you release. You can just kind of go in and out a few times, so keeping it reasonably gentle. You might pause, take a breath in and out. And then release. Let's try that one more time. So just hands to the pelvis, lift, opening the hips, front of the hips, lift, extending through the belly, lifting the chest, taking the gaze up. Might go a bit further, and then from there, bring the chin down, let the knees bend as you let the arms hang, and it's like you're letting the spine roll down towards the floor. So rolling the spine you might not do if you had osteoporosis of the spine. You might just come down with a flat back, come up with a flat back. Otherwise, let the head relax down, let the whole spine release into that forward bend, push into the feet, uncurl up again. This time we can take the arms up, and then bringing the hands down through the center. So let's try a little sequence. So again, a bit of a recap of one of the things we looked at. Actually, we didn't do it last week on the video. We did it in class last week. So those of you who are attending the class, we did this, but I haven't showed you this one. So those of you just watching the video. So just a quick look at the sequence. And it could be that you need a couple of blocks. So let's just watch the sequence. So it's warrior one, so we're stepping back. We're going to bend the front knee. We're going to find that nice opening through the front of the body. And then we take a pause. Then we're going to go into Parsvottanasana, so the forward bend with one leg forward. We let the spine release, and now the spine goes into flexion. Knee might have to bend a little bit there. And a breath. And then we're going to see if we can slowly shift the weight forward into that front foot. You might use blocks under the hand, or you might just find that you can raise the arms, breath or two, foot comes back, and then we're back to our warrior. And then hands come down and we step forward. We'll try that a couple of times each side. So now working with a little sequence. And when you learn this sequence, you can play about with holding the poses a little bit longer if you want to. But at the moment, we're just going to hold for a breath or so in each posture. So when you're ready for mountain pose, remember to find the balance in the feet between the center of the heel, ball of the big toe, ball of the little toe. When we're working in standing poses, we always want to come back to that. Feel that you're nice and tall, you're noticing the breath. When you're ready, shifting the weight to the right foot, lift the left foot, step the left foot back. Find that nice grounded stance. So we're already extending through that left hip. So as we bend the front knee and raise the arms, that's going to extend the hip a little bit more. Keep it comfortable. Then we lengthen, open up through the abdomen, the chest. Taking the gaze up, take a breath. Feel that nice extension there. So we're really lengthening through that whole front line of the body. Okay, now, and the back line is shortened. Now we're going to lengthen through the back line of the body, the superficial back line. So it's the muscles and fascia that run through the back of the legs, through the back of the spine. Okay, now we're going to find a neutral position with the spine as we shift the weight forward into that front foot. Either use blocks or maybe arms wide. And here you're just trying to find length from tailbone through to crown of the head. Also out from navel through to the feet. When you're ready, foot comes down. And that stability. Go back to your warrior one, and then release the arms, step through. Okay, so that's the sequence. Let's try that on the other side. So mountain pose, observe the breath. You could shift the weight into your left foot. Inhale, lift the right foot, exhale, step the right foot back. Next inhale, arms reach up, knee bends. Exhale, pause, and then a breath in and out. When you're ready, folding over that front leg. So maybe the leg will straighten a little bit, but you might find you have to bend the knee to allow that spine to release forward. An extra breath there. Shifting the weight into the front foot. Do it slowly, lifting the back leg. If you can, use blocks or arms wide. Bring the foot down, sweep the arms up, stepping forward, hands come down by the side. So when you do this sequence, of course, so this is kind of showing you how to do it. You can also add an extra breath if you want. So let's see if we can hold for 2 breaths for each posture. So we'll do it one more time each side. Shift, so you shift the weight into your right foot. Inhale, lift the left knee. As you exhale, step the left foot back. Stay comfortable. Bend the knee, raise the arms. Take a nice breath in. Now exhale. So let's take a couple of breaths. Really pressing into the feet, finding that nice, comfortable extension. One more breath. Fold over the front leg, letting that spine flex here. You can take a couple of breaths. When you're ready, shift the weight forward if you can. Raise the back leg, raise the arms if you can, or use the blocks. Couple of breaths. Foot comes down, arms sweep up. And then releasing, stepping forward. Let's try that on the other side. So left foot, weight into the left foot, right knee lifts, inhale, right foot steps back, exhale. We're going to take the arms up as we inhale, bending the front knee. We're in our warrior one. Stay, a couple of breaths here, stay grounded through the back foot. Oh, nice and open through the front of the body. Next exhale, fold into that forward bend. Couple of breaths. Shift the weight into the front foot, spread the toes a little bit. Feel that weight coming into the foot. Try and lift the back leg. Find that length. Keep the back of the neck reasonably long. But imagine the chest is lifting, so a little bit of extension. More like axial extension really, from tailbone through to crown of the head. Foot comes down, sweep the arms up. And then release, step forward. And if it feels like it, you can just go into a bit of a forward bend there. And let the spine just hang down. The head nod a little bit. Uncurl up. Float up the arms. Hands come down the centre. Great, you might like a little soft turn there. Okay, so let's try one standing balance. Natarajasana it's called. So Lord of the Dance pose. So here we're going to be taking the weight into the right foot first. So you might need right hand on a wall or on a chair seat. And let's see if we can find our balance. So with this one, shift the weight into your right foot. Lift the left knee. Take the right arm out. Find your balance. Press into that left foot. Find that nice lift. Now you might just stay there, but otherwise can you slide the hand down to the shin, down to the ankle I should say, and then draw the knee back. Try raising your right arm. Now if you can, contract your buttock muscle, like when we were lying on the front of the body and we lifted the leg, we lifted the arm. Imagine you're doing that, you're lifting out the leg behind you so the knee draws back. And we find this nice opening through the front, and we're balancing. And we're breathing. And if that wasn't comfortable, we might go back to just finding that balance and then release it out. Okay, so let's try that on the other side. Observe the breath. Shift the weight over to the left foot, right knee lifts. You can take the arm out to the side. You can slide the hand down the shin to the ankle if you can. Draw the knee back. Reach the arm up. Press into that standing leg foot. And then draw the knee back by contracting the buttocks. So again, like you were lying on the front of the body and I told you to raise the arm, raise the leg. And we get a nice opening through the front. Make sure your lower back feels comfortable with this. Any spinal issues where we feel too much compression in the lower back, then you probably won't want to go so deep. You have to modify to suit yourself. So you might just find, if there's any things like spondylolysis or spondylolisthesis, where the one vertebrae it gets degenerated, the facet joints, and then the vertebrae kind of slips forward. So this can happen. So if you had something like that, just be really gentle with the back bends. So you might not go into the full thing. So you might just simply hold the knee, take the arm up, or just draw the knee down. Don't worry too much about extending. If we can though, just quick look. The next one, if we can go into that back bend, drawing the knee back, lifting the chest, then we might find that we can fold forward. This really depends on how that feels in the spine. And we come back up, so we might take a breath or so. So it's reasonably challenging, that one. You can try it if you like. So when you're ready, weight into your, let's start with the right foot. Left knee lifts. Take hold of the ankle. Reach the right arm up. Draw the knee back. Extend through the front. Maybe you're going to lean forward for Natarajasana. Find comfort, find steadiness, find your balance. When you're ready, bring yourself up. You reversing what we just did. Back to mountain pose. Always going to just to the stage that suits you. Always finding the balance between, a little bit of a challenge, but knowing your limitations. The wise yogi knows their limitations. So let's shift the weight to the left foot, right knee lift. Grab the knee or maybe the ankle. Left arm reaches up. Right knee draws back. Like you're trying to lift the legs, there's contraction through the back. You might find you can lean forward. Keep the breath flowing. Stay comfortable. Come out when you feel ready. Good. Let's go into a forward bend. Take the toes a little bit wider because then we might be able to go into a squat from there. So turn the toes out a little bit. And then just bend the knees and let your upper body just hang forward and down. Now you could just stay there, or if you're able to, you go into a squat. You might find that your heels lift. Some of you might find the heels come to the floor. Taking just a few breaths in the squatting position. Okay, then coming onto the hands and knees, and we're going to just take a little pause in child's pose, and then we'll work with one posture called the pigeon pose, and that's going to work with a little bit of external rotation at the hip. So now going into a little bit of external rotation. So if you come up onto the hands and knees again, With this one, we really need to kind of take our time with it. And we're going to so we're on the hands and knees, we're going to take the hands forward. So you might need a bit of extra padding under your knees here. And you're going to just see, let's first of all just try this. We're going to see if we can take that right knee forward between the hands. And then you just assess. Now, how does that feel on the left hip? How does that feel on the front knee, the right knee? If that's okay, great. You can make sure the hands supporting you are comfortable. You could always use blocks under the hands if that feels a little bit better for you. Might feel more comfortable. Then if you can, you just let your right foot wriggle out to the left a little bit, but then you bring your hips back level. And if you feel, oh, that's a bit, sore on the inner knee or pressing or something, you might have to wriggle the foot back in a little bit. So really always adjusting to find comfort. Now here you can just try pushing that front knee into the floor, maybe even the back knee a little bit, so the hips will lift up slightly, and then allow that to slowly release. So we press the knee, front knee and back knee a little bit. You'll feel the front of the hip contract, you'll feel the right buttock contract, and then when you let it release, you might even notice that your hips sink to the floor a little bit more. Last one. You can take a breath or two in the pigeon pose, and then we're going to bring the right foot over to the left, slide back, take the weight off the hands, back to child's pose. So it is a back bend or extension in the spine and hip external rotation, flexed, externally rotated hip at the front, extended hip at the back. Take your time with it. Reach the hands forward, slide the left knee forward, see if that's comfortable. Okay, from there, if you can, you wriggle the left foot to the right a little bit, roughly so that the heel comes below the hip. You can even push the knees into the floor a little bit, your hips will lift up, and then allow that to release. You push, hips lift, and then release. And then you push, and then you release. Hands stay comfortable. Extra breath. And then we're going to bring that foot back and go back to child's pose. So in that pigeon pose, the Ekapada Raja Kapotanasana, so it's the one leg pigeon pose, king pigeon pose. We are getting the back bend, we're getting a nice bit of rotation in the hips. So with that rotation in the hips, just to try one seated posture. So sitting poses can be a little bit tricky if the hips are very tight and limited in the movement. So don't worry too much about it. So you can just you can grab a block, and we're just kind of sitting with the legs out in front. And let's first of all, just with the right knee bent, just let your right knee lower to the right, see how far it goes, and then bring it back up. So you're just seeing how much rotation have I got. And then swap over legs. And you can't really force this, we can contract and release muscles, but we can't push it too much, because that's only going to bring on what's called the stretch reflex, which muscles then tighten up. Okay, so if you possibly need a block to sit on, and I'm showing you from the side. We're going to bend, so we're going to sit, feel like we're sitting tall. Then you're going to cross the legs in front of you, and for this one, just having the shins roughly parallel to the front edge of the mat. So can we sense where we feel the sitting bones on the block, or maybe the floor? You could even take the block away in a moment. You might find you don't need it. And if we're kind of sitting more toward the back of the sitting bones, we're going to gradually see if we can sit a little bit more toward the front of the sitting bones. And what we're going to do is push the feet into the floor. And as you do that, press the knees up into your hands, but meet that resistance with your hands. So you feel a contraction in the inner thighs and maybe the buttocks there. And just let that slowly release and see if your pelvis will just roll forward a little bit as you release it. So I'm not pushing now. Bring the hands to the knees, push the feet, sides of the feet into the floor. As you do that, the knees will lift, so you're pressing the knees up against the hands. Feel that contraction. Even your back muscles might contract a little bit. And now let that release. Leaning forward. And try that again. Pushing the hands. Lifting. So the knees press against the hands. And releasing. You might find each time you go a little bit further. And that's one way we can work with a little bit of hip rotation. Feet press into the floor, hands pushing against, or knees pressing against the hands. Releasing it. See if we get a little bit more. And then you might find just from that we are able to sit a bit more upright. You might even find that you can shift the block away. Okay, so let's come on to the back of the body. So we're going to finish off now. And let's just finish with a little bit of arch and flatten and then a rotation. So you're going to just slowly arch the back and then flatten the back. Arching and flattening. And arching and flattening. Arch and flatten. Back to the center. Let the knees lower to the right, head to the left. Back to center. Knees to the left, head to the right. Back to center. And you can repeat that a couple of times. Okay, and then coming back to center, and now we're going to get ready for the relaxation. So slide out the legs, let yourself settle, close the eyes. The last aspect of using yoga for musculoskeletal health, so we've gone through all the movements, the balances, bone density, keeping the joints mobile, keeping the joints fluid through the synovial fluid. Now also learning how to function well, so the brain moving all the joints and the bones, but now letting all that go and allowing the whole of your body to completely relax. So take a deep breath in when you're ready. And as you exhale, just feel the body weight sinking down. Notice your breathing. Breath flowing effortlessly in and out through the body. And then we're going to take the awareness around the body, so bringing the attention to each part of the body. And we're going to just start by bringing the attention into the right hand thumb. So as I mention the body part, you just bring your awareness there. So it's the right hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, armpit, shoulder, right side of the chest, right side of the waist, right hip, buttock, thigh, knee, shin, calf, ankle, top of the right foot, heel, sole, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Be aware of the whole right side of your body. Now bring your attention to the left hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, armpit, shoulder, left side of the chest, left side of the waist, hip, buttock, thigh, knee, shin, calf, ankle, the top of the foot, heel, sole, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and the fifth toe. Be aware of the whole left side of the body. Now bring the attention to the back of the head, right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, spine, right buttock, left buttock, the right heel, the left heel. Be aware of the whole back of the body. Now bring the attention to the top of the head, forehead, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, right eye, left eye, the right cheek, left cheek, the right ear, the left ear, the nose, right nostril, left nostril, upper lip, lower lip, throat, right collarbone, left collarbone, breastbone, upper abdomen, lower abdomen, right hip, left hip, right knee, left knee, the right toes and the left toes. Be aware of the whole front of the body. Now bring the attention into the whole of your right leg, the whole of the right leg. Be aware of the whole of the left leg. Be aware of both legs together. Be aware of the whole of the right arm and the whole of the left arm and both arms together. Be aware of the whole of your trunk, the whole of the head, trunk and head together. Be aware of both legs, both arms, trunk and head together. Be aware of your whole body lying on the floor. Noticing the breath flowing in and out through the nose. Feeling the movement in your body as you breathe. The whole body softening with each out breath. And then when you feel ready, you can start to bring some movement back. Just gently stretching and moving whichever way feels right for you. And slowly taking yourself to an upright position. So as you go about your day or your evening, just notice how you feel after your practice. And you can use this recording to go over it, to go through some of the movements that we did. And I hope it's helpful for you. So we're going to finish by just joining the hands at the heart center. Namaste.